there we have them. On the top, Phillip News. On the bottom, Nicolas Schneiders. And as you can already see from the deck types, we're going to see Ishizu Tearlaments once for Phillip, but we are going to see Dragonmaid Dragon Link in the hands of Nicolas Schneiders.
Oh, not only Dragonmaid, there is another engine that I'm
more.
quite familiar with.
Oh, yes.
I can already tell you that this card here is going to be...
We're going to see...
Wrong card.
Yeah, we're going to see your favorite field spell of all time and the one you love to resolve in the most optimal way possible. It is Dragon Ravine.
I've just recently learned that you have to discard to add a Dragunity card, and Nicolas is running quite a lot of those.
He's actually running quite a big Dragunity engine, yeah. He's not just playing a small package or something, he's really going in on the Dragunity cards. I would say there's even more Dragunity cards in his deck than we see Dragonmaid cards.
Yeah,
so.
But I think the biggest engine is actually the Bestials, and this is why I showed you guys Magnamhut in the first place, because this card does not search a Bestial monster in the end phase.
It works very well in an all-dragon deck.
Any dragon monster. I think Dark Dragons?
No,
Or
I don't even
just
think so.
dragons?
It's just dragons. You can even search Cypher in the end phase or something, I'm pretty sure.
This is really, really strong.
Yeah. So, but let's get into the action of this game. We saw that Phillip started off with Terraforming, getting to Pearl the Rhino, optimal start for him. You want to have the field spell in this deck, and then he followed it off with Caldo effect, discarding Mudora, so he already has a Shuffler Ishizu effect in the graveyard too, and he now mills the Kelbeck. The question though is, or he rather discarded it with Shiren, do you want to mill? You don't know what your opponent is playing.
Your opponent is on 60 cards, so the chances of him playing Tearlaments is not... It's
we are milling. Look, we are milling. Oh, we see Baby Rock. Oh, look, he sees it right from the get-go. He sees he's playing versus the Dragunity deck, and he's laughing himself. Phillip is excited about seeing Dragunity cards.
And Armogram is actually a really valuable resource that Nicolas is playing as one-off in his deck, and this card can special summon itself from the GY by banishing 2 Dragon-type monsters from the GY, and then when it hits the field, you count how many equip spell cards you have on the field and negate monsters on your opponent's side. So this is not a card you want to mill your opponent.
Nope, in a 60-card deck, quite an unfortunate hit there for Phillip. But what did he mill for himself? There's another Kelbeck. He already triggered Kelbeck.
Another one, Saronir and Scream. He can actually go for Scream, which is quite decent.
Yeah, but he didn't trigger any of the Tearlaments names. So there's no access for him at all, right? He could go into Redoer to trigger the Shiren,
does he
I
play
guess.
it? I mean, we have seen players cut on Redoer.
That's absolutely true. There I have his list. In terms of rank 4s, there is no Redoer at all, so he does not even have that line available to himself here. That is quite rough.
I mean, he also has the Rhino Heart in hand. We know that because he searched it earlier.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, true. There's always a way. There's still a way for him.
The hand of Nicolas is looking good. I have seen triple tactic talents, something that looked like a Gamma. I don't think he's playing Gamma.
I didn't see Gamma even.
Then it must probably be a Dragunity cards, because those artworks are greenish as well.
So, Phillip now searching for the good old Salik. And we see that Phillip also has a Bestial in hand. And honestly, we've talked about this quite a bit when we saw Blackwings live on stream. This is a rogue deck with dark monsters. And Dragon Link or Dragonmaids do have a little bit of the same issue. They also play a lot of dark monsters, so the also popular Bestial monsters are hitting that deck quite well, but there is a Bestial monster on the side of Nicolas. He's hitting the one Tearlaments name that Phillip wants to resolve here, and he's chaining his Mudora. And okay, so you at least get that Dragunity monster out of the graveyard, so Armogram is not there anymore. That's good at least.
He wants to get rid of Armogram anyways. He does not want this Saronir to hit the board because he sees his opponent is playing dragons. This is not only a monster with 2,500 attack point, this also has quite the useful type. And also the effect of this card is really important because it can actually just send Lubellion from the deck to the GY as soon as it hits the GY itself.
That's true. Oh, but wait. He could have also, in this case, shuffled back one of his Tearlaments names. He did that, so he could trigger Pearl the Rhino to pop one of his monsters on board, which would be Shiren then. So he does still have a line to actually keep on playing here. If he sees it, and I'm pretty sure he does. I mean, he shuffled back his own Tearlaments name, so there has to be...
Does he see the line?
I don't
really think that he sees it.
Oh no. He did not go for
dark play, and in his opponent's GY there is a Magnamhut milled.
True. So he gets access to more bestial
So
cards himself.
actually, this leads him to a line where he can go for a Sprite Sprint and try to get his plays through the Merly.
Oh yeah, you're
And
right.
now he also gets a Druid Worm in the end phase, which is arguably a bit
That's
better.
even better. You're right. You're totally right. So that Pearl or Rhino Pop there wasn't even necessarily needed. And look at him. He goes for the Sprite Sprint line. And 100% I can guarantee you he's going to send the Merly to finally get his first Fusion Summon here off in our round 10 featured match of Day 2 in YCS Dortmund 2022.
You don't know that yet? He could have... Okay, now you know it. He could have sent Herald of the Arclight. Orange Light. Sorry.
Could have sent Orange Light, but I'm not really thinking that would be the route here. And but one interesting decision, he is running Herald of Orange Light, because people were really going back and forth on that, not really sure whether to run it anymore or not. But he does, and he also is playing double Divine of the Herald, so he really values his fairy package in here.
How many Agitos does he play?
Let me check on that. I do not see any. There's one Agito. One Agito at the top of the list. And Leonard König, you can't see it, is smiling at me. He told me right from the get-go, oh yeah, you're only going to play one Agito. And yes, Phillip listened to you. He heard your call, so he's only on one Agito.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid.
He is indeed. He is indeed. So, we use Kid Carlos effect on field, special summon out the Merly. That doesn't work. You have to summon to a different zone. Yep. Yeah. Now, there we go. And even though we got interrupted already, we can still go on, go for the Mill 8 play. Be also powerful. We Mill Diviner, which is a pretty good reborn for the Sprite Elf when we get to it.
Let's see if we can hit the Chiron. We don't hit the Chiron. We can actually hit the... use the Rhino Heart. However, I don't know how useful that will be. It is
it provides you another level 4 body, right?
Yeah.
That would be quite cool.
He cannot go for an Elf with his Sprint because it was Link summoned this turn.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys again.
That's true. Let me check. Is he playing Gigantic? I don't think so, though.
I don't think he is playing the Gigantic package, and it would be really good at this point.
Absolutely. So, Phillip really going through his options here, really thinking on what to go next for. He has milled a bunch of the shufflers. I think he has multiple Mudoras now. He definitely has Caldo as well. So he's not short on those. And versus Dragon Link, versus Dragonmaids, and Direct Unity, that could definitely be an option. I think those will help. Yeah, he does trigger it. And he discards a Sully that he searched earlier on. So he probably just gets Huffness here, right? For the opponent's turn. Huffness seems like a pretty good get here.
Now he chain blocks the Rhino Heart. Has he not already activated the Rhino Heart?
Ooh, I think so as well. Yeah, for sure. Rhino Heart was the card that made him play in the first place.
That is true. But the Sully could resolve, so we don't even have to shuffle this now.
Yep, the Sully is resolving. We are searching for Huffness indeed.
Yeah, Huffness is a really good interruption in the opponent's turn. Especially when you have so many names in your deck.
Yep, indeed it is. So, I still don't see how we're ending on a Fusion Monster, right?
I don't think he needs a Fusion Monster. What he can do is go for Sprite Elf under the Sprite Sprint, and then summon back the Herald, try to mill 5 for Agito, if he has it in the deck still.
Yeah.
And then go for a Baron with the Rhino Heart.
Oh yeah,
and
you're right.
I think that you don't have to prioritize Dweller. I mean, it's good in the matchup, of course. However, you have 2 of the shufflers in your device, so it is not.
And he goes for the Diviner.
Priority.
I think he goes for exactly the line you were just anticipating. He's searching for Agito. Is it somewhere in there? Oh no, he just wants another shuffler. Fair enough,
he hasn't milled Caldo yet, maybe.
He started with Caldo. He for sure already has 1 Caldo, but he wants more Caldos.
Okay.
He can't wait to have more Caldos. And, I mean, both of them would have worked, right? Both of them would have made the Diviner a level 6 monster to provide access to Baron.
But the only unfortunate thing in this moment is that Elf does not protect anything.
Absolutely.
Oh, and now Caldo is being used. And he is shuffling back some traps, I suppose.
Most likely, yeah.
He does not have to shuffle back the Druid Worm.
Oh, he wants more access to field spells, so he gets the Terraforming back. He wants to have access to his extra deck a little bit more again as well. Therefore, putting back the dog.
I mean, this is really good. This deck is so good with its resources, and you basically play every card in your extra deck only once. So you really want to have access to them all the time. Also, you will not be able to resolve 2 Kalos in the next turn, so it makes sense to just shuffle back some resources and be able to use this Dark against the Bestial deck again.
We saw a very cool card at the top of his extra deck as well. He's actually one of the few players in Ishizu Tearlaments that is running Access Code Talker. Yeah, that's a cool card to just end games very quickly, to go for a big push. And we see the effect of Magnamut, actually of Nicolas Magnamut, is now resolving because Phillip in between reborned it with the Dark, and therefore he just got himself a Druid's Worm now. And I'm pretty sure he also had Magnamut right from the beginning in his hand as well. So Phillip now with both Shufflers in the graveyard and 2 different Bestial names in his hand as well. So there's plenty of interruption for his opponent here.
And also the Harvness.
Yeah, you're right. That's actually a really, really strong end board war.
However, there is Droplet and Triple Tactic Talents, 2 of the best spells in the game when you're going second for Nicolas in his 60-card deck, and 4 monsters that he can just use. So now we're starting it off. Wow, with the Wyver Burster as well.
Start. That is really a strong start. He instantly links it away for Striker Dragon. And yep, he can even resolve the effect of Striker Dragon.
But he has the Collapse Serpent in hand already.
He only announces the Striker Dragon. Yeah, you're right. Then that wasn't the best draw, to be fair. You don't want to see them in a pair. You only want to see one of them. They're all limited to 1, so you could always only search the other one. But when you have both of them, there's no searching happening at all.
So also, if the Harvness does not hit a fusion monster, or the fusion monster gets targeted by the Saronir in hand of Nicolas, you still have the option to use Kaldo or Modoro to shuffle them back and actually resolve the Palorino. You could actually try to just pop the boot launcher here.
The boot sector launch, for sure. Yeah. You could, on the other hand, you could also just shuffle back the monsters from the graveyard, to be honest. Because I think he left the Rocket Recharger in the graveyard, right? Maybe that was a little bit of a misstep from Phillip, because he could have anticipated that boot sector launch to come down quite early. And you don't want to have your opponent, you don't want to see having him rocket monsters in the graveyard, so he can just easily reborn them for free.
What we have seen in the past with the Dragonlink deck is that boot sector launch is such a key component to the deck, because when you are going second, you can just for free reborn monsters from the GY. I mean, now at this point, we are getting rid of.
Yep, he is taking out the Rocket Recharger now.
And this deck can play through boards easily. Dragonlink can just like pull so much out of their sleeve.
For sure. So he's also recycling some other stuff from him, from his own graveyard.
You don't want to put the Merly back because you need that one for Elf for an extra interruption.
Yeah, but Magnamut is going to go back to the deck.
Yeah. Don't let your opponent get to your Magnamut in the GY. Don't let him get to that.
But definitely makes sense to put back one of the names. I think he put back... he put back Harvness, right?
And he actually announced the Palorino after boot sector launch, already announced the effect, so that doesn't really do anything. Okay, you can hit the Striker Dragon, which is fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But is that really...
It's just a body at this point. I don't think that this was necessarily worth it. But still
Nicolas doesn't look super happy about it all. I mean, the good thing for Nicolas is going to be Talents, for sure, because Talents will usually bait out the negate. Oh, but he just instantly uses the Droplet, sending monster and spell. So there's no responses being possible from Phillip, negating Sprite Elf and Baron, and massively hindering the opportunities here for Phillip. But as we told you several times already over the course of this weekend, this Ishizu Tearlaments deck is so great because you have so much potential in the graveyard as well. There's still a Mudora in the graveyard, and there's 2 Bestial monsters in the hand as well.
And he wants to see the hand, or does he want? I think he wants to draw, so he is... No, we already cut the deck, so he's just going to draw 2 cards, which is kind of good for Phillip, because now he knows there was no good follow-up on Nicolas' side before that.
But there is the Bestial Lubellion now for Nicolas, discarding itself to now search for another card in his 60-card pile. What is he finding here? For which option is he going next? It wasn't in that half, so we got to check the other one.
And now this is getting more and more interesting, to be honest, because we know that Phillip also has a name in hand. We know he has at least the Druid's Worm. I think he has 3 cards in hand. So you said there might have been another Magnamut.
I'm pretty sure there was Magnamut, and now there's Druid's Worm as well. Oh, and there's Pala Dragonmaid now. Finally, we see the first Dragonmaid card here from Nicolas. And this We were wondering, why would you play Pala Dragonmaid when we looked at the list? But it's actually kind of decent, because you can just send to the graveyard Dragonmaid Tidying, and then whenever that Pala Dragonmaid is leaving the board, you can reborn it with the Dragonmaid Tidying. So you just have two bodies instead of one, so it's actually quite cool.
So this card is really strong, and also it does not lose to the Bestials, but now Harvest is activated.
And there's Merly being hit.
Diviner and hitting the Agido. Agido is huge at this situation, because now you can ensure 5 more mills for Phillip. And now he has to, I think Nicolas has to react to the Merly.
You probably have to, yeah. He did search himself the Magnamut. And then the question for Phillip will be, if he is reacting here... Oh, looks like he's not. Okay, Phillip is considering whether he can even use the effect of Agido here, counting his deck. He doesn't have the comfort of a 60-card deck, so you would rather be very, very, very cautious with milling. But still, as you said, I think you have to activate it, and he is announcing Agido as Chainlink 2 here.
The deck is being cut, so I don't know if there are any responses. I mean, he has...
very
Serenir on the Merly.
It is absolutely happening, and there is the Magnamut being changed, and I don't really
he
like that decision of Phillip.
He should have gone for these Druids.
Now his opponent knows that he has another Bestial in hand.
That is crucial information.
Yeah, but you just don't want to share this information without any need, because he could have... The Druid would have done the exact same thing. It's cool that you can search for another Bestial in the end phase with the Magnamut if it is resolving here and comes to the field, but I think in this specific situation, you much rather want to have that knowledge advantage.
Also, what do you think of waiting for a Libellion effect with the Druid now?
I also can see that, but we are now milling, and we see Merly, Hafnis, and Salik. The Merly was already used, so we only can trigger the Hafnis.
But the Salik.
Yeah, of course, the Salik, but the Salik is not really doing that much for us in that situation. Of course, we can trigger it, but that's just another resource.
That is true, but I am not sure if Nicolas is going to win the game in this round, so every extra resource counts.
You're right, and we see that Nicolas actually got to mill his Starlight Cyphered, which is another resource in the graveyard. And also, Phillip just quickly reading up on Dragunity Glow, which was also milled.
And this card does not do anything in the GY, it just adds a Dragunity card level 5 or higher, level 6 or higher.
Not so quick, it actually does something in the graveyard.
Right.
But let me just double check what it was. Yeah, it only works with a Dragunity in the Spell and Trap zone, so it doesn't work right now, but there is potential for it in the graveyard too. So he is announcing Hafnis and Salik. Still, Nicolas is trying his luck with the Magnamut, and of course Phillip knows. The thing is, if he uses Druid Swarm here, there's actually no space left on the board, but he can fusion away his Hafnis on the field, so it's not that bad.
I mean, the target will be the Hafnis, right? So I don't think there will be any fusion summons happening.
Ooh, you're right. Even though he can prevent this, it will still...
This is really good. He actually goes for the Mudora now, tries to not banish all of his Tearlament names for the grind game. And I mean, he knows there is Lubellion, he knows there is Glow in the GY and Starleech Cyphered, so why not use your Mudora for this instead of using the
I think you also really want to hit the Dragonmaid Tidying, right? Because that's another resource. Oh, he really is scared of the Glow.
And he also milled a Parlor.
Oh, he milled Parlor as well? That's huge. Then he will definitely chain it. That's a lot of resources adding up here for Nicolas, to be honest. This could turn into a going second victory here for Nicolas.
And now one thing I do not especially like about going for Mudora instead of the Druids is that Parlor is a wind monster.
You can't prevent
in this situation, you could have banished your own Harvest with Magnamut, with a Druid Swarm, and then have Mudora to chain to a possible Dragonmaid Tidying.
Yep. I do agree with you there. He is now resolving Salik to search himself the Tearlaments Shiren. But Shiren, as we said, is just another resource for the next turn. But we gotta wonder, is Phillip even getting another turn here? Because Nicolas really has not stopped yet.
Yeah.
And look at him. He is now revealing that he drew into both of the baby dragons. He's summoning Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, which you successfully identified in the card guessing game.
And you were absolutely sure that this was not Dragon Collapse Serpent.
It is, Bo. Now I know it is. So he has 2 dragons on board. And we know that dragons can't really do a whole lot with 2 dragons because there's Dragunity Knight Romulus, and I'm pretty sure that's the Link 2 he's about to summon, and that would bring him to the most powerful field spell of his whole deck. And that is, of course, the Dragon Ravine. And Dragon Ravine in this specific deck is not only able to send dragons to the graveyard, but it can also just search for Dragunity cards.
It cannot just search for Dragunity cards. You will have to discard a card for a cost.
Okay, I will give you that. But there is the Dragon Ravine now.
But we know that the cards in Nicolas' hands don't really do anything at this point because it is a Saronir, it is a Magnamood, and it is one card that I remember.
Tracer. There's Rocket Tracer.
Tracer,
in there as
yes,
well.
I saw Tracer, but he cannot normal summon, and Boot Sector Launch is out already.
What did he normal summon though?
Normal
the
summon
Power
Parley.
Dragonmaid. Yeah, now I remember. You're right.
So he still has some resources to get into place, but the cards in his hand won't be too strong.
He is discarding the Saronir.
And Saronir can actually mill Lubellion, right?
Yes, that's true.
It's actually a really good discard.
Indeed, that's true. And maybe we're just going to search for the Ramos here. Yeah. And yes, Dragunity Ramos is being added by the Dragon Ravine. And we're going to send the Bestial Lubellion via the Saronir as well. This is huge stuff for Nicolas. He's doing a lot out of very little. He could actually be able to snowball into a big board here. Maybe summon the Boral Sword Dragon, which we also had in the card highlight earlier. That's kind of funny that we had all the cards in here.
Is he not running Access Code Talker?
He is not running Access
because
Code Talker, no.
Boral Sword Dragon is able to deal a lot more damage than Access Code Talker. However, there is a big board on the field for Phillip, who also banished the Lubellion now with the Joyous Worm. And it is going to be hard to OTK Phillip in this turn because this is a wall of monsters there.
Let me tell you something. He's not even running Boral Sword Dragon, as I just checked.
Oh.
There's so many Dragunity cards in his extra deck, but he didn't fit any of them in. And the only big boss monster is Boral and Dragon. But also like a cool little option I saw in here. Usually only in later stages of the game, but Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend actually could be a board vibe here very well indeed as well.
But if you trigger, okay, Haven is already triggered, Druid's Worm will trigger. Actually, Scarlight Dragon is really good here if you can get to a level 8 and then have follow-up plays, because I don't think it will be enough to take the game.
But there is God Dragon Pisty first of all. It's also interesting because Sprite Sprint actually is pointing to one of the zones that Nicolas has, to the middle zone. Right now, he cannot capitalize on that yet, but maybe he gets to a scenario where he could actually use that for the effect of Pasty.
That is a good point. So he has another Dragon Ravine, and this card is not hard once per turn, so he can actually just discard the Rocket Tracer. Later on, summon it back with Pisty, and now search for another Dragunity card or send one from the deck to the GY.
I think he could just get out another Ramos, and Ramos can special summon itself to the board. Okay, he goes for Legatus, but that's the same thing. He can also special summon this guy out, and then he goes for another Link monster, and then Pisty will be able to actually special summon something back. Look, there's Legatus being on the field. And he, of course, also summons back the Ramos. He is going strong now.
He goes for Gaydark, but he does not have the Mist Valley level 2 monster in his deck anymore. And I don't...
The Baby Rock is already in the graveyard, you're right.
So let's get up Gaydark. Once per turn, you can add 1 level 4 lower Dragon or Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 Dragon or Winged Beast monster. So the small combo with the Mist Valley Baby Rock does not work, but he can still search for a Dragon monster that could be a good resource in the GY. However, it has to be level 4 or lower, so no Armogram for him.
The thing is, let me tell you something. He went for Legatus for the first time, but he could go for Ramos here, and then Ramos also has the ability to special summon itself from...
And he went for a completely...
Oh, he just searched for the Chamber Dragonmaid and put it back to the graveyard. And there are no more traps like Dragonmaid Tidying in there.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's just a card that doesn't really do a whole lot right here. One thing I can see here, though, is he could just go into a Link 3, which would be Triple Burst Dragon, and then that God Dragon Pisty could actually come in handy.
Let's a lot of effort. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it. Does Phillip have an answer to the Boral and Dragon? That is also a question I'm asking myself.
So we are using the effect of Pisti, trying to get back the Magnamood, finally resolving it, and now he will get another Bistia in the end phase as well. Really, really cool stuff. And he is going for the Link 5 summon of his biggest boss monster in there. Borderland Dragon hitting the field. And that's a very good question whether Phillip even has an answer to that. And don't forget, this card can attack all the monsters on the opponent's side of the field.
It can, and the monsters like Baron and Elf are actually halved, so this is going to deal a lot of damage. Is this even damage on board? 1,500 for Baron, so it's 2,000 damage.
It's certainly damage on board, but it could be game on board even. Yeah, you're right.
2,800 on the Elf, if I'm not mistaken. It should be 2,100 on the Sprint, which is already a lot, and 1,000 on the Magnum. Are we 100 damage off of game? Wait a second.
That could be the case. Let's see. First of all, he's going to negate the Sprint Bow and reborn one of his dragons. Oh, okay. Looks like we... Oh, yeah. We are reborning... No, what's going on here?
We are taking this step back, apparently. So there must have been something wrong with this. Magnamood is apparently banished.
So he couldn't summon back Magnamood, apparently.
Oh, he couldn't even go into the triple burst, by the way. We are at the Romulus stage of the game again.
We are at the Romulus... Wait, Romulus has left the field since forever, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not that long ago. So we just rewind it a little bit here.
Yeah.
But let's check. Triple Burst Dragon needs 2+ monsters except tokens.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, in theory, that's possible, but... Oh, he has Legatus in hand now again. So
let's read Legatus again, okay?
Let's just double check on Legatus, you're right.
Be patient with me and Dragunity cards.
There's Viremos hitting the board. Okay, okay. So now we just go for Triple Burst. So I think we just didn't go into the Gaedog, right?
Yeah.
We left out the Gaedog part now. We're still going to be able to summon back with Pisti. And at the end of the day, I think the result is just going to be exactly the same here. He's going to go into Borderland Dragon. And now, for the second time, he's actually summoning the boss monster of his deck, Borderland Dragon. And that can attack.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's going to win because he's dealing close to 8,000 damage. And then actually can probably activate the effect of Rocket Tracer afterwards to go into Scarlight.
You're right, that could be the case, yep.
And yeah, the Rocket Recharger has been shuffled back into the deck. The target for Rocket Tracer was out of the deck already, but Mudora did Nicolas a favor and put it back to the deck.
Yep. What a performance here by Nicolas, going second into the best deck of the format. He's really going strong here versus this Ishizu Tearlaments deck. I like what I'm seeing for sure.
And we said it earlier, and we will say it again. Dragon Link is not to mess around with only like 1 or 2 bodies on the board. If you give them 1 or 2 dragons, you are in for a bad time. And we are going for the Borreload Savage Dragon. When it attaches a big Link monster, it can actually get more attack points than the Borrel End Dragon. So this could still be game.
I'm very curious. First of all,
over Sprint. It's
we're running over
right?
Sprite Sprint. So this is the first damage being inflicted to the life points of Phillip. We're also running over Elf.
And which should be 2,800. We are 4-9.
Phillip sees the riding on the roll. He's already looking over to his life points block. His sheet of paper is not looking gorgeous right now. It's going down and down and down.
And we are
There's
attacking over
Baron leaving the field, Magnamood leaving
and
too.
This is 100 life points on Phillip, and now Sarnia will be sent to the graveyard. Try to send Borreload and Borreload Savage Dragon. This one will negate.
What
and we
a
have game 1 here,
turn by Nicolas
OTK with the Borreload Dragon. The crowd is going wild.
Absolutely deserved victory there and deserved round of applause by the crowd. What a game we saw there.
Yes, absolutely.
We were quite impressed by how good Phillip kept on going, even though he was not really milling the names he wanted to see, and he still ended up with Baron and multiple interruptions.
He could barely fusion summon in this game because of Sarnia, because of Magnamood, because of everything.
Yeah, and the Bestial Engine, those are the most popular dragons we have right now in the game, because every other deck also is playing them. But here we have a pure dragon deck, Dragunity cards, Dragonmaid cards, all of it together.
All the dragon archetypes. We don't care, we just want dragons.
in this case, it was actually a bad thing for Phillip that he had a big board, because Borrel and Dragon was there saying, I'm going to do damage here, there, and always as well.
Don't forget about Forbidden Droplet halving the Baron and the Sprite. I mean, Droplet and Tactics is pretty good if you are playing a deck that can OTK easily.
For sure. So that was a long game, but a really, really nice and
It was a rewarding one to watch.
Absolutely. But let's see what would be the side deck options that we could bring in here. I'm looking at Phillip first, because Phillip will be the one going first. Is there something we can really look forward to?
Oh, I do think so.
What are you liking here? Tell me about it.
I like triple copies of Skill Drain.
Oh, the skill could be drained here in this game number 2 if he activates it, for sure. And versus Dragonlink, that would definitely be a good card to bring in, for sure. And yeah, all the other options don't seem very suitable for the matchup. They're more of going second options. Yeah. But speaking of going second options, let's see what Nicolas could bring in here. One card that I haven't seen in ages, there's Forbidden Chalice in there. He's like, hey, those Forbidden Droplets work really well on my main deck. Maybe we should go with more Forbidden cards.
Yeah. Forbidden Chalice, not really that strong at the moment, because there is Sprite Elf that can protect monsters from being targeted.
True.
However,
Absolutely.
if you summon Elf in your main monster zone, this does not stop your opponent from chalicing.
But
so
that's totally not it. He's also bringing in triple Dark Ruler, triple Lightning Storm, triple Gamma plus the Driver. So his side deck is...
Called by the Grave is also an amazing card going second if you are not even in the mirror match.
I don't like it that much, though. Because all the shufflers just dodge the Called by the Grave, and then it does not...
But you still get rid of the effect. You can still chain it to the effect of... You can also bait out the shufflers if you want to. You can just call Mudora or Kaldo in your draw phase. The card is really flexible.
Yeah, it's not that great going second, though, I'm pretty sure. you can say in chat whether you like it or not, but I'm not the biggest fan going second for Called by the Grave. But your opinion is valued in here as well. This is a safe space. If you want Called by going second, you can have it.
You're making me freeze right here. You are making me freeze. So what I'm thinking is, Nicolas is playing 60 cards. He's playing so many cards to side in. He might even side out one entire engine of his deck.
You're right. I mean, there are so many, so you could actually get rid of some. It will definitely not be the Bestial engine, I will tell you that.
I wouldn't think so, no.
Because this is very, very good versus Ishizu Tearlaments. And that's probably the reason why this deck even is that good in the format right now. Him still going strong here in the tournament. And without the Bestial engine, I think he would have a way harder time. But I could actually see the Dragonmaid engine going second, or the Dragunity engine. Both of them seem to be very good going first, but maybe not as strong going second. We're going to see what happens, though, right now, because the players are ready. Game 2 of round number 10 starts now. Let's head over to the table. There we have them. Phillip will have the chance to go first. Let's see how he is using it.
Maybe he also lets his opponent go first and thinks, maybe I can break his board. Now he will side in so many board breakers, but this would not be a hand you want to go second with. So we are activating Scream. Phillip is indeed going first. You were right about that.
And he starts it off with Shiren, discard Shiren, and the mills will be Instant Fusion, Halfness, and Mudora.
Which is a pretty strong mill, yeah.
Those mills are not too bad. So we're probably going to trigger the Scream here and also the Halfness. Yep. Oh no! Did he point towards the Scream? Didn't look like it, right?
Nope.
Okay, so we're not resolving Scream. Maybe we're just waiting with it.
Maybe you want to chain block something with it.
Maybe the Kit Colors, actually. You could actually chain block the Kit Colors here, if you like. Yeah, indeed. Chainlink 1 is the Kit Colors, Chainlink 2 is the Scream. And let's see what we're hitting here.
Halfness. Oh, he pointed at the Halfness earlier, right?
Yep. The Halfness is resolved already. So look, he takes himself a node. Halfness is done. Let's see what we can do next. He at least hits the Merly as well. But we are, of course, also going to resolve the effect of Kit Colors first. I know you are an expert in forgetting to activate the effect.
I did that
to
once.
Search with Kit
because
Colors.
You were talking so much, Basti. Stop it.
I'm a commentator. It's my job to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! So why would you be mad about that? He's searching for Tearlaments Crime here, though, with Kit Colors.
Okay, so Crime is being searched, as you just said. We are shuffling again in this. We are in for a long term, guys.
Also, Crime would have really helped Phillip last game, right? If he would have had Crime for the droplet, it would have been huge, and probably it would have been game winning for him there. But he didn't have it. didn't have enough to also set up one of the Tearlaments traps. Searched for Salik in between, but then had to discard it later on. So it really didn't make it for him.
What I really like about this version of the deck is that you don't always immediately activate all of the effects that you are milling of your Tearlament monsters. You can be a little bit more patient with the deck, and wow, we are hitting Scream and Shiren. Also Heartbeat, but this one is not too important right now.
I think, didn't we use Shiren already? Because we started it all off with...
I think we used the Havnis. So it's either one or it's a Havnis or Shiren. And
I mean, one of them will be able to resolve, but I think
matter here.
He pretty certainly started all off with Shiren, discard Shiren.
Yeah, but I think then he milled the Havnis and then activated the Havnis.
All right, so he's still able. He's still able to resolve the Shiren. Fair enough. So Shiren and Rhinoheart are announced. Or was it Scream?
Both.
I mean, he searched for crime, so maybe he has Salik in there already as well in his hands. So potentially there's no trap anymore to be searched.
Discarding Merly.
I think he didn't announce Scream.
I think he pretty much, I'm really sure he announced it.
Okay, perfect. There is Salik, all right. So he has double trap, and I think that's definitely good. I think in a quick second, though, I saw that Nicolas has Lightning Storm in his opening hand, so that would already be a pretty... Yeah, there is Lightning Storm indeed. Would be a pretty good way to already bait out the crime, at least.
I really want to find out if he wins the game. If not, I'm going to ask him personally in the interview what he sided out for all these going second cards. Like, if he really is about siding out an entire engine.
Yeah. And I mean, it's always rough with 60 card decks.
Yeah.
The side decking process becomes a lot harder because you are going to see your side deck cards less often because of the pure amount of cards you have in your deck. The probability goes down to see the cards you're putting in because 15 out of 40, who would have thought, is a higher percentage than 15 out of 60. I even myself can do that math. So, let's see how Phillip is going on. He summoned Rule Colors. Having Rule Colors on the board actually is quite good because that also prevents a couple of Bestial plays for Nicolas.
That is indeed true.
But he would have probably already activated Bestials on one of the effects that Phillip used. There's Merly coming down now for Phillip, resolving.
I think we're going to see Garura, and this is going to be all of the Tearlaments GY effects for this turn.
Going much better for Phillip than it was in game number 1. But looks like Nicolas actually has brought in board breakers to support his going second matchup, and therefore it's still not that great. I mean, he had board breakers in the main deck already. Yeah. He's running that droplet, and he ran that droplet in game number 1. Oh yeah, he had a really good droplet coming down there. So he's triggering Garura, of course, getting another draw, and yeah, multiple traps in his hand. He has Crime, he has Salik, so his setup is great because he can also now reborn the Diviner.
I don't think that he has Modora and Kaldo.
Nope, I'm pretty sure.
He just has Modora, he now checks, and he is going to send a Kaldo, and this one will be a Baron or an Abyss Dweller. I mean, okay, Diviner won't be an Abyss Dweller, obviously. However, you can still go for Dweller, which is really good in this matchup. Nope, he goes for the Baron. It does make sense.
Yeah. Game 1, it was dropleted, but your opponent cannot always have droplet in 60 cards, so I do understand that he goes for the Baron again. Baron de Fleur, +2 trap set, and the Rule Colors. A lot of negation being present here on the deck. Let's see. Oh, there's another droplet again. His 6th card again was the Forbidden Droplet. Nicolas gets to see droplet 2 games in a row in 60 cards, and that could be a huge game winner for him.
Crime is going to be a big win against that, though, because you can't even chain Forbidden. He just scoops it.
Wow!
He just scoops it. I think he does not have the cards to play with this. If he destroys all the monsters, Shiren is going to trigger, Rule Colors is going to trigger, so you effectively get half of the cards back. You can chain the Elf and summon back the Merly, so you get 2 fusions immediately. You can't chain Droplet if there is a Crime.
True.
Crime would be chained to a Droplet later on, so this board was actually Lightning Storm and Droplet protected.
But this is so good for Phillip, because now we have 10 minutes left for the last game, so we might actually get to play it out quite properly, and therefore both of them have a chance. Also, I really like the decision of Nicolas to scoop early here, because both of them are already on the draw. So drawing here is not for
an
them.
option. No,
They're both out of the
not.
tournament if they draw. Therefore, they have to win right here, and he makes the decision to just go into a game free, go into decider rather quickly.
And we have already talked about the Scarlet on Nicolas' side,
Oh,
but
yes.
there is a hand interaction called Spooky Dogwood.
Oh yeah, let me check. Is he running it? Oh, he is. We
Ghost
see Ghost
Sister and
Sister
Spooky Dogwood
for
on Phillip's side, and if he opens this one, this will put Nicolas' turn to a stop.
Oh
really
yeah, oh yeah. You don't want to give your opponent a bunch of life points when you
in
are
this
close
combo,
to time.
you're going to up your opponent to 100,000 life points.
You couldn't even end the game ever with that. I mean, Boral and Dragon would help because he's quite big.
Yeah, but you would still need like 10 turns for it.
Indeed. And he probably doesn't have those 10 turns. And I'm really, really hyped for this. Day 2, instantly starting off with a strong match. Yesterday we
What a
had
great
so
match
many.
already, yeah.
Yeah, we had so many great matches, and again we're starting it off like that. We see that the rogue options really are putting up a fight to the for the Bestial Ishizu Tearlaments deck, because I can tell you most of the Ishizu Tearlaments decks in the field are also running the Bestial package.
Yeah,
Most
this
of them do.
Bestial package is not to be overlooked. I think Magnamut and Jerusalem are the most played cards in the tournament in different aspects. I think Jerusalem
really
is
interesting. That's
the
a
one
cool
in the
fact
most
here.
decks, and Magnamut is the one played per most copies.
And also, it's really not only between the Bestials, it's really the most played cards in all of the tournaments. So the Bestials have really taken over the tournament landscape.
They are staples.
They are absolute staples, and everybody is on them. And it's quite funny. As you said, more people have decided to play Druidswarm, but in total, of course, because Magnamut is a generic searcher, more people are playing copies of Magnamut. How many copies of Bestial Magnamut are we going to see here in game number 3? Let's get into the action again.
So we are drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards for both players in the opening hands, and we are going to see game 3 of this first round. It is a bubble match. Whoever loses this cannot advance to the top card anymore. And whoever wins this
Phillip
still is in
opened-
competition.
I can tell you one thing. Phillip opened triple Kelback. I mean, one Kelback is cool, but triple Kelback is quite a stretch, to be honest.
That is definitely rough. Ramos is being discarded, and it's going to search the best field spell, Dragon Ravine.
Yep, your favorite field spell of all time is being added to the hand, and it's also being activated right there. We see he has the White Dragon again, he has Saronir, and he has Chaos Space. Oh boy, the hand of Nicolas looks good.
Oh, and he's discarding Tidying, and I mean, he's discarding and milling cards already, but there is no special summoned monster on the field that Kelbeck could bounce.
Not yet, nope. So he is adding the Legatus. Legatus special summons itself to the field. That also triggers the Ramos in the graveyard, which is also summoning itself back to the field. And that's getting banished when it leaves the field. And there is the Gay Dog. He could potentially go after the Gay Dog here, right? Yep, that's what he's doing. Oh, there's one Halfness at least in his hand. So Halfness is his hope here. Halfness is the
on
hope.
Keldo is strong, on Magnamut not so much, but Rhino Heart. But I don't think that he can trigger the Rhino Heart. This is so huge for Nicolas. And Phillip is not looking too happy about it.
Nope. Very, very straight face right there. Doesn't look like he could resolve the Rhino Heart at all. And yeah, his face is telling it. His face is telling it. He was really banking on that Halfness to hit something useful. There's the Baby Rock. Triggering in the graveyard.
Will be
Special
summoned back to
summoning
the
itself
field,
back
and
out.
then we can go for a Stardust Dragon and this set Assault Mode activate.
He's instantly going for the Kelbeck as well.
This is so strong. I mean, Baby Rock will still be sent to the field, or a special summon to the field, but Gay Dark in the extra deck is not really where you want to have it.
The thing though is that's quite aggressive from
Phillip is going
Phillip.
in here, but I think that this is absolutely necessary at this point.
I mean, you only have 6 minutes left on the clock, so you rather want to end this turn quickly. He hopes that he could end this right here, that he is stopping Nicolas completely, but we saw Chaos Space in the hand of Nicolas, so I don't think he's done yet.
No, he also has the White Dragon Wyver Burster, which is not a problem because you can banish it for a Collapse Servant that you are searching afterwards, and then you can just put it back under your deck with the Chaos Space to even draw one more card. So,
I'm totally sure that Nicolas is able to play on
hard.
here. Phillip, look how he's looking into the camera. He's just hoping. He's praying to the Yu-Gi-Oh gods. Please let that be enough. Let him stop playing. But we saw it in game 1 that Nicolas is absolutely capable to play through a bunch of stuff.
He is not going to be too happy when he sees this Chaos Space. Let's see his reaction when Chaos Space hits the field.
There it is, Chaos Space, and Phillip, what does he think? Yep, he's giving a thumbs up. He knows this is going to take a whole lot longer now. And he's searching, of course, for the Call of Serpent.
Is there a chance that if Scarlight hits the field and resolves, that Phillip can actually do something with the Hardness effect?
I mean, he can't gain life points, so that's already a pretty big disadvantage. But let's see.
Deck is being cut, drawing a card.
So, this Dragon Link, I want to play Dragon Link now again. It's commentating on those matches really makes me get all the cards in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe.
Honestly, every time I watch Dragon Link play, I'm like, I really want to play this deck, but when I pick it up, it just does not do the same things I see on the featured matches.
You should have a talk with Nicolas then, though. He is definitely putting that deck to work. And yeah, of course, the card is at the bottom of the deck. Where would it be when you just put it there?
I have a hot tip where the card could be.
Yeah, so he's summoning out the White Dragon now again. Wyver Burster, and we're going to see the link to summon. Are we going into Romulus again? Cool thing about this deck, normally when you are hard drawing your Dragon Ravine and Dragon Link, there's no more target for your Romulus anymore. Yeah. But this deck, luckily, plays multiple copies of the Dragon Ravine.
By the way,
Dragon Ravine in the end.
Do you think that Nicolas would have had more plays?
He can even search for Glow. The thing is, it doesn't limit you to field spells. You can just search for Dragunity Glow. That's also quite powerful here. But yeah, go ahead, Leo. What did you want to say?
If he kept the Keldo and did not use it on the rock, like Baby Rock does not really do anything on the field. It is not even a dragon. That's the most important part of it. It's not a dragon. You can't go into Striker Dragon. If he kept the Keldo for the Chaos Space discard to not let him have a light monster in the GY, would he have passed?
I think so, right? I mean, yeah.
But you can't know that your opponent is going to drop a Chaos Space as his last option.
Of course, but I mean, you are probably sure that his options are very limited. There is a card you even used in your Time Wizard duel yesterday.
Yeah. Armor Mistletoe.
Very old and OG card from Dragunity Legion. Was that the name of the structure deck we had back in the day?
I'm
pretty sure, right?
But I'm confused. He's not attaching Phalanx.
There's no Phalanx, yeah. There's no Phalanx in his deck list. That's probably the reason why.
Oh, we are going for a Bayage. Oh, Atom.
Oh,
we are going for a Heretic card.
Heretic. This card has seen a little bit of popularity lately again due to the
Thunder Dragon Bestial
Thunder Dragon Bestial deck. But here in this deck, it of course also makes a lot of sense.
So now Saronir is detached and actually immediately triggers. Magnamut is being special summoned and now already tributed for Lubellion, and this one is going to activate Branded Beast from the deck.
That is indeed true. Nicolas getting a good setup here, but yeah, there it is, Branded Beast. I love how the Bestial cards and the Branded cards are actually working so well together, because Branded Beast and Branded Regain are actually two really, really powerful cards. Let me just check, is he also playing the Branded Regain? Doesn't look like it.
At this point, I think that Branded cards work with every deck.
Apparently they do, yeah. Oh, he's going for Seal now.
He's going for Seal. This is not the level 8 Scarlight plays we were anticipating.
Thinking about, is Phillip actually getting a turn here with 1 minute left on the clock? I think we're in the end phase. Yes, we are searching for Druid Swarm. Phillip is actually going to have a turn here, and he has 2 monsters on board already, so Phillip rather hurry. And also, he doesn't really need to hurry that much because they're both on 8,000 life points. But as we said earlier...
the draw is an out for both players in this tournament. And he cannot only normal summon another monster because there is a bounce, it will special summon another monster, and Branded Beast is going to pop something. So Shiren is being activated.
All off.
Now we are in a hurry. Kelbeck is being sent to the GY, but you can't really activate this now, can you? It will take too much time. You can just use the Merly, and we are activating
he's triggering both of them. There's Druid Swarm on the Merly.
This is going so fast now. Mudora is going to send back the Merly, and we are looking at the opponent's GY. 40 seconds on the clock. This is going to probably end in a draw. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but there are ways for Phillip to win this. 30 seconds. Hurry up, Phillip. You need to deal some damage now.
Also, one thing, I'm pretty sure Phillip might even
he's
have an
running
option
scatter shot as well.
He's running volcanic scatter shot in the side deck. And close to timeout, as we were in siding before game 3, I'm quite sure that you would even bring this card in going second, right? Just hitting it randomly off of a halfness min on your opponent's turn or something. That could really pay off here. And we may be able to see Phillip take this one here. With 8 seconds left on the clock, we are very likely going to end up in timeout here in this main phase of Phillip.
What he still should do is... Oh, well, he's milling now.
There is the timeout announcement.
Are we hitting the scatter shot immediately is the big question.
Nope, we are not yet. Phillip, not really liking it. So, this would be a draw right now. And I think Phillip asking his opponent, do you have any... No. I think if Phillip does not have an option, if Phillip has no scatter shot in his deck, he would have already offered the handshake.
Yeah.
But the fact that he keeps on sorting his cards there in the graveyard and going on, I think it is pretty likely that he has scatter shot. And let's be honest, there's a pretty easy access way for scatter shot, which is Sprite Sprint.
Yes, he just needs to get a level 2 monster on board or a link 2 monster on board. You can already bait out the seal. We are checking Kaleido Heart again. I think that he sent 2 Aqua Monsters and the... Nope, he did not send 2 Aqua Monsters. He sent 2 Rhino Hearts, which is impossible because you need 1 Rhino Heart and 2 Aqua Monsters. Rhino Heart is a warrior.
Indeed it is.
And so now we are trying to target the Heretic Seal of... Heretic Seal of Evenly Spheres. Okay, I will check this.
Heavenly Spheres.
This was what's
But
wrong.
there's another very popular card with Evilly in its name, so you didn't totally confuse something there.
Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. There we go.
Absolutely. So, he is going after the Kaleido Heart. And Nicolas, of course, has to chain it here. Yeah, that's what he's doing. And he is chaining it.
Now the big question is... Oh, nice! He actually just shuffles it back because it tributes for cost and can't activate in the new chain link. Phillip, you genius!
Phillip is pulling it off here. So if he would have a battle phase here, it would be so much better because he could just go into it right now. But now he has to find himself a way to actually get to that scatter shot.
And a card is still bounced here. So is there a dark type in your opponent's GUI? I think we have seen a Magnamut. Oh, we are actually discarding
Kelbeck. But we did mill with Kelbeck already, right? So,
oh, we are going into a link to Dark is summoned to the extra monsters.
That is our way into Sprint, though. That is our way into Sprint, my friend. First of all, we're getting Magnamut, which is also cool.
Of course, in the end phase, we activate the effect to get it in the end phase. Sprint
there is
activated.
Sprint.
What
are we
seeing
special
volcanic
summoning?
Scatter shot? I think he passed the scatter shot. No, there it is.
There is his
for
scatter
500
shot.
damage, and Phillip wins the featured match to still be in contention for the top cut.
What a match! I was so sure when Nicolas was going into game 3 with a couple of minutes left that he would be able to just completely do everything, and we were like, yeah, he still has Chaos Space, that must be enough for him to do so much stuff. But his end bot in the end then was Branded Beast plus the Heavenly Spheres, and that's honestly not that much.
I can tell you why. There is no Absol in his decklist, so he cannot go for a Dragon Ravine route where he just searches for Rocket Tracer, activate Boot, Sector Launch.
You're right, yeah.
And then just go for a level 8 Synchro.
True, Absol was like one of the hard and soul cards.
There should be some Dragoonity routes to go into a level 8 Synchro, right?
You would think so, yeah, absolutely. But maybe he sided out some of the Dragoonity cards. On the other end, he's only siding going second cards, so what kind of going first cards would he side in? There's not really anything.
That is indeed true. Maybe Drama and Guyver.
Drama and Guyver, guys.
Drama
and Guyver. No,
Gamma and Driver for an Ashe onto Chaos Space, but but Ashe has fallen out of popularity.
It's not really there anymore.
I don't think it's going first.
Probably not, but what an insane and intense start to the day.
Yeah.
And actually, this was the second appearance of Phillip in our coverage over the course of this weekend.
Oh, right.
Because I had him for our Naturia deck profile on Friday. He, last minute, decided to run the Ishizu Tearlaments deck for the event. I can understand why, to be honest. Very powerful deck, as we just saw once more. But he will be very happy to still be in competition now. Really, really, really great game. And really two likable guys. And also even the fist bump after that ending with the volcanic scatter shot. But yeah, you would have to side in the scatter shot every single time when you are close to time, even when you are going second with that deck, right? There's just no choice.
It's just a too important win condition at this point. And I gotta be honest, I'm really proud. This was my Baron, by the way, on the field.
True, fun fact.
He got it from me. So
he got
really
it from
happy.
himself on Friday, so Phillip wouldn't be here without you.
Exactly. The best Baron in the field right now.
Yep, everybody was shaking. He actually was with us here just before we started the featured match, just before we decided on the featured match. And we were like, yeah, maybe you are going to get a featured match at some point. And then it was just paired versus our Dragon Link guy, versus our Dragonmaid guy.
Immediately.
And that actually worked out for him. He was defeating him here in that.
But let's recap for a second on this game 3, because I think there were very few interruptions. I mean, there was Caldo and Calbeck. I mean, that is actually good, but why don't we go and hear from Phillip what he thought of game 3? Give it over to Ed.
Hello guys, I am here with Phillip, who's just won round 10. You're now 7-2 for 1. This is going well. You're heading for that top cut. This was one of those bubble matches where whichever way this was going might have separated you from the top cut. How do you feel?
Well, I honestly feel quite tired because the night was quite hard, because last night was quite long, but I'm very happy that I was able to win the match. Yeah.
You did have to work very hard, especially at the end there, and watching your brain work as you managed to work your way towards that scatter shot was very exciting. But we'll come back to that. Let's go through the game. So game 1, we had some pretty standard tier plays to start with. You responded to the Dragonmaid with the Havnis, milling Merli and Agido, and then milled Havnis and Suliek. There was so much interaction. And then Nicolas sort of ended up dealing with Baron, Sprite Elf with Forbidden Droplet. There was the Triple Tactics Talon, and then the Borrelend. So that was quite a heavy moment. So how did you feel during that?
Well, it was quite a tough one because he had like a few Beast Shields which were able to interrupt me very good, but I was still able to pull off a very good board, I thought. Still having like 2 Beast Shields in hand, I think. But he just managed to play through and go for the Borrelend OTK, which kind of surprised me, to be honest, because I never seen those Dragunity cards before.
There you go. Sometimes that little bit of bad luck could just end up with that. But it was very exciting seeing all that happen. But you were right. You built a really amazing field there to try and deal with it. But sometimes it just doesn't work, and something will come out to surprise you, like a Borrelend Dragon. Game 2, you built a huge field, and there was Baron, Rulkalos, 2 set cards, a Sprite Elf and the Scream, and then him having Lightning Storm and Droplet in hand just wasn't enough to deal with it, and so it ended in a scoop. So at that point, you didn't have much time going into the 3rd round. How were you feeling at that point?
Well, it was like 8 minutes, I think, but I was thinking I might be able to take it home because I knew I have a lot of interactions in my deck, like a lot of hand traps, which I thought like maybe interrupt him enough to stop him. But the thing was, my hand was quite awful, to be honest. I had 3 Calbeck in hand, 1 Mudora and 1 Havnis, and then I milled the Rhino Heart of Havnis, and I just felt like, damn it, I do not have any tier name in my hand. So I was quite feared that he will burn me for time, but luckily I was able to interrupt him just enough.
And then we got into the 3rd and final one, where it was a lot of plays, a lot of interaction, and then the desperate moment of looking for that scatter shot. We weren't sure you were going to get it, thought it might have been a draw, and right at the end it came out. Talk us through all the steps you were trying to go through just to get to that scatter shot.
Okay, yeah, it was actually, his board was just like the Sealed Pass he had and the Branded Beast. And I knew I would have, like, after I milled the Caldo, I knew I would be able to interrupt the special summon effect of the Seals because I was, like, feared of Grand Tusk Dragon, which could pop 2 cards on my field, meaning I wouldn't have been able to go into the dark, into Scattershot line. So I just thought, like, yeah, after the point I milled the Caldo, I had it, I thought, but I was still feared he has, like, 1 Bestial or 1 interaction again, because then he would just, his Beast would have been live again, but I thought he would use them earlier, and I was lucky to mill it to have a second Medora in hand, so meaning all the Bestials were dead as well.
So it was heart of the cards and then the brain that is required to make those cards work. Congratulations, a really, really solid round 10 there. Only 2 more rounds of this Swiss, and we might be making the top cut. Are there any decks that you're slightly worried about going up against in these last 2 rounds of Swiss?
I wouldn't say worried, but I did play a lot of mirrors by now, so I'm like, it's kind of normal to play the mirror for me by now. But I'm a bit feared of some like anti-strategies which might come up, like decks playing, he played like 60 cards, but decks playing 40 cards and then 9 Bestials also are very scary, to be honest, if you have a lot of dark monsters in graveyard you want to resolve.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening. Best of luck. Congratulations again. Don't go anywhere, guys, because we've got the last 2 rounds of Swiss coming up before we get into our top 64 cut here at YCS Dortmund. Don't go anywhere.